Hello folks, this is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers for the drawing on May 9th, 2018. If you want to play my game, Decoding the Powerball, to help assist you in picking your own numbers, then please go to my website at www.patreon.com/Decoding the Powerball. I have 7 strategies with my game, Decoding the Powerball. So strategy number 1, the game card color code. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, why I make them is to show you on how to use my game. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This represents all 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize with the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage. And the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 14, 29, 36, 57, and 61. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list. And then I take the last 3 drawings of numbers and I transfer these numbers over to the game card as red numbers. Then I'll do the same thing with the orange area, the green area, the blue, and the purple. I have 5 different colors, one to represent each one of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So for this drawing here, I have 13 red numbers, 14 orange, 13 green, 18 blue, and 11 purple. And the number of colors change with every single drawing. Okay, so over here to the right is 225. This tells me how many color code drawings I kept track of so far. And again, these are the color code drawings, okay? So out of this 225 drawings, 118 drawings have come up a 3-color combination. 81 drawings have come up a 4-color combination. 21 drawings have come up a 2-color combination. And only 6 times out of 225 drawings have all 5 colors come up together. And never has it been just 1 color. Okay, so this number 4 right here, this tells me how many colors just came up in the last drawing. So you can see that there was a red, a green, 2 blue, and an orange for 4 colors total. Okay, so how I use this game is I try to correctly guess what the next number will be, okay? So more than half the time, it does come up a 3-color combination. Okay, so the overall strategy is this. The overall strategy is to reduce the numbers, okay? So again, there's 69 white ball numbers total. Only 5 numbers can come up as winners. So that means 64 numbers can't come up at all, okay? So for me, I just think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. Okay, so to help me do this, I'm going to turn to how all 5 colors hardly ever come up. Okay, so the strategy is try to guess which one of these colors won't be coming up and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so for this drawing here, I'm going to guess that no orange numbers will be coming up. Okay, and the reason why is because when I look from this area down to this area, okay, I just see a lot of orange in here, okay? So my gut feeling is that no orange numbers will be coming up in the next drawing, okay? So the thing is that we're all going to look at this a little bit differently, okay? So you may look at this and say, oh, I don't think any red numbers will be coming up or whatnot, okay? But for my guess is, again, I don't think any orange numbers will be coming up. So I'm going to eliminate the orange numbers off of the game card here, okay? So to speed things up, I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like so far with no orange numbers to it. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm spending $3 on a Powerball ticket, which includes the Power Play. Okay, so in other words, I'm betting $3 that none of these orange numbers will come up in the next drawing. Okay, so if I'm correct with my bet and none of these orange numbers come up, then I'm 1 step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. Strategy number 2, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers. Okay, and how this works is up at the very top is the master for each individual number. Okay, and over here to the right are the numbers that just came up in the drawing. So you can see it was the 14, 29, 36, 57, and 61. Okay, so that turns out to be a 5-group combination. Okay, so I'm going to reduce this card down so you can see the whole thing. Okay. And what you're going to see here is that there's 7 groups total. Okay, so group number 1 holds the numbers of 1 through 9. Okay, and then the second group is the teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Again, for 7 groups total. Okay, so there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so 2 of these groups won't be able to have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to guess which one of these groups won't have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so how I use this is this big square right here. This is good for 5 drawings, okay? And the reason why I do 5 drawings, why I break it into 5, is because when I go back into the history of things, it's easier to count backwards as far as going 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on, okay? Another reason why I do it is because if there's a lot of hits within this group of numbers here for this 5 drawings, then maybe there won't be so many hits in the next 5 drawings, or vice versa. Okay? So for this drawing here, because the 50 numbers have hit 5 consecutive drawings in a row, okay, I'm going to guess that it's going to miss a drawing here. Okay? So my guess is that no 50 numbers will be coming up in this drawing. Okay, so I'm going to blow this back up. And another way I could use this is that if I want to point out just like the 14 area here, I could go back and see what has happened or what colors have come up in the 14. Okay, so, if there's a certain color that hasn't come up in a long time, then maybe I'll choose that color when it gets into that area. Okay. Another way I use this is I try to correctly guess what the next number here will be. Okay. So most of the time it either comes up a 4-group combination or a 3-group combination. Okay. Every once in a while a 5 comes up, and once in a blue moon 2 will come up. Okay. But I never seen a 1. Okay. So I never seen all 5 white Powerball numbers land in like all the 60 numbers here. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the game card, and again, I'm going to eliminate the 50 numbers off of the game card. Okay, so this is what the game card looks like so far. Okay, so again, this is no orange numbers from the color code. And now I'm going to parlay that bet, saying that no 50 numbers are going to come up. So a parlay means I'm going to add on to. Okay, so I'm going to keep on adding on to this bet and reducing the numbers. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 3, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 1. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 1 numbers. Okay, so basically what I did is I divided all the numbers into 4 different groups, and I put colors to these groups. Okay, so when the 5 white winning Powerball come up, I record where they land within these groups down here in the stats. Okay, so again, I'm going to go back to the Powerball homepage, and again, the 5 white winning Powerball numbers were the 14, 29, 36, 57, and 61. Okay, so again, the 14 and the 29 are in the blue area here. Okay, and then the 36 is in the orange, and the 57 is in the orange, and the 61 is here in the green. Okay, so as I come down here in the stats, you can see that there's a 2 here in the blue. And again, that represents the 14 and the 29. And there's 2 in the orange, and that represents the 36 and the 57. and this 1 represents the one in the green represents the 61. Okay, so you can see that there's a 0 here in the red area, which means that no winning Powerball numbers landed in this red area. Okay, so the strategy is try to guess where these zeros are going to pop up. Okay, so if I could have correctly guessed that none of these red numbers were going to come up in the last drawing, I could have eliminated all these numbers and really gave myself a much better chance at picking the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so my first guess here is going to be option card number 1, no red numbers. Okay, and I have 15 of these option cards. Okay, so I'll show you option card number 2. Okay, so you can see where the red numbers are here. Okay, so I use all the same colors as far as red, blue, orange, and green. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other from each different option card. Okay, so the reason why I gave myself 15 of these option cards is because I want as many options as possible to try to guess where these zeros are going to pop up. So again, we're all going to look at this a little bit differently. But for me, as I go back into the stats here, you can see that these zeros, sometimes they triple up or even quadruple up or whatnot. Okay, this has only happened one time here in the red area as far as having 3 zeros in a row here. Okay, where other columns have had it multiple times. Okay, so I just think that that's due to happen here again. So I think that this is going to be a 0 right here. Okay, and if there is a 0, then that means that none of these red numbers will be coming up in the drawing, hopefully. Okay, so again, I don't think these red numbers are going to come up, so I want to get rid of them. And I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so as I go back to the game card, I'm going to scroll to the right. Okay, so you could look underneath. It says Group 1, option card number 1, no red numbers. Okay, so you can see that all these red numbers here are gone. Okay, so I want to point out these numbers right here off to the left. Okay, so what this is this 8 actually shares the square with the 66. Okay, and the reason why that is because I wanted to have a grid of 64. Okay, because this is all nice and even. I got 8 squares down, 8 squares across. Again, everything's nice and even, but there's 69 numbers. So what that means is that this 25 and the 65 share this square. So what I'm doing here is I'm just keeping track of groups of numbers and trying to predict whether they're going to come up or not come up in the drawing. Okay, so if I want to get rid of all these red numbers here, I'm going to get rid of the 25 and the 65 as a group. Okay, so that's how you have to kind of look at this. Okay, so the reason why I have this 8 out here to the side and not crammed in here with the 66 is because of the color code. Okay, so I need some separation, because if I want to get rid of all the green numbers, I'll get rid of the 8, but the 66 is still in play. If I want to get rid of all of these, then the 8 and the 66 will be gone. Okay, so I hope that makes sense to you. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Group 1, and my next pick is option card number 5, no green numbers. Okay, so the reason why I'm picking this one is because one of these green numbers have hit in the last 28 drawings here. Okay, so I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so for the last drawing here, the longest drawing was 17 consecutive drawings in a row where something hit. Okay, so this is blew that away here. Okay, so I'm not sure when it's going to miss, but since it's so high right now, I think it could miss at any drawing here. So I'm just going to guess that there's going to be a 0 right here, okay? Which means that I don't believe that any of these green numbers will be coming up in the drawing. So again, I want to get rid of them, and I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like so far, okay? So again, if I'm correct with my picks and none of these blocked out numbers come up, then the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be within these numbers still left on the board. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 1, and my next pick is going to be option card number 7, no green numbers. Okay, so the reason why I'm picking this one is because this 46 represents the blue marks, okay? And a blue mark means that it's a 0, that no winning Powerball numbers landed in that area. Okay, so for this row means that all 4 colors came up in the last drawing. Okay, so when that happens, I call this a row, and that way I can go back through the history of things and see where our rows are. Okay, so eventually this thing is going to miss as far as the rows, and I kind of think it's going to be this green area right here. Okay, so again, we're all going to look at this a little bit different. You may look at it and say, well, I think it's going to be the orange because it has more drawings, consecutive drawings to it. But who knows what it will be, or maybe it will be another row. Who knows? Okay, but for me, my guess is that no green numbers will be coming up. So I'm going to eliminate these green numbers through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. And you can read underneath group 1, option card number 7, no green numbers. Okay, so all those green numbers are taken off. And now I'm going to go back for one more pick. And that's option card number 9, no green numbers. Okay, my computer's lagging a little bit. That's why it's not going where I want it to go. Okay, so for this one right here, okay, the reason why I'm picking this one is because here's a single one, okay? And as I go down through the history of things, a 1 comes up a lot for some reason, okay? I have no reason why, okay? It just does. Okay, so for this column here, as I go down through, there hasn't been a 1 in a very long time here. Okay, so here it is right here, okay? So as I go through these other columns here, you can see that here's a 1, here's a 1 over here, okay? Here's another one over here. So it comes up a lot, okay? And again, over in this column right here, this green column, I haven't seen a 1 in a very long time. So again, my guess is that none of these green numbers will be coming up. So I'm going to eliminate these green numbers through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. Okay, and this is what the game card looks like so far. Okay, so I like to show you step by step on how I reduce the numbers here. Okay, so I'm all done picking from group 1, so I'm going to go to the next strategy. Okay, and that's strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 2. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 2 numbers. Okay, so much like group 1, where I divided things into 4 different groups, here I divided things into 8 different groups. Okay, so again, there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so I know that 3 of these groups won't be able to have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to guess which one of these groups won't have the winning Powerball number to it, and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so how I use this is, here's the red area, okay, and the stats for the red area is right down here. So I have 15 of these option cards as well, okay, and I use all the same colors as far as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow for all 15 option cards. So I'll show you what these look like a little bit, okay? So how I use this is, again, down here in the stats, I'm going to blow this up just a little bit. Okay, so down here in the stats, you can see that I like to break things down into 5s, okay? So the reason why I like to do that is because it shows me a majority of things, okay? So this 0 means that none of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers landed in this red area. And of course, this 2 means that 2 out of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers landed in this red area, okay? So if there's 3 or more zeros or 3 or more misses, I color the background blue for cold. If there's 3 or more hits, I color the background red for hot. Okay? And the reason why I do that is because as I go through the history of things, because the lottery is so random, nothing can stay hot forever and nothing can stay cold forever. Okay? So when I see something that's been really, really hot, like right here, okay, I know that eventually it's going to turn cold. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen. Okay? So I kind of think that that's going to happen right here. I think there's going to be a lot of blue area coming up in the future here. So my guess is that there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay? Which again means that I don't believe that any of these red numbers will be coming up in the drawing. Okay? So I want to get rid of these red numbers through the game card. Okay, so as I go back to the game card, I'm going to scroll down now. Okay, so you can see underneath Group 2, option card number 1, no red numbers, and you can see that all these reds are gone. Okay, so I'm going to go back for another pick, and my next pick is going to be option card number 3, no purple numbers. Okay, so again, we're all going to look at this a little bit differently. Okay, so here's the purple area. Okay, and as I scroll down through, you can see that things got really, really hot here. Okay, and now I think they're going to cool off. So I think there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so I want to eliminate the purple numbers off of the game card. And that's the 66 to the 32 and the 33 to the 57. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the left now. And you can read underneath Group 2, option card number 3, no purple numbers. And you can see that all those purple numbers are gone. Okay, so I'm going to go back for another pick. And my next pick is option card number 9, no yellow numbers. Okay, so here's option card number 9. Here's the stats for the yellow. And as I head down through, you can see that things got pretty hot. Okay, and now I think they're going to start to cool off. So I think there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so again, I want to get rid of the yellow numbers that are left on the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the left. And this is what the game card looks like so far. Okay, so I'm going to go back for one more pick. And this is option card 14, no gray numbers. Okay, so here's option card 14. Here's the stats for the gray. And as I head down through, you can see that things got pretty hot. Okay, really, really hot. And now I think they're going to start to cool off. So I think there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so that means I don't believe that any of these gray numbers are going to come up. So I want to get rid of them. Okay, and take them off through the game card. And I believe that the only one left is this 37. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the left here. Okay, so this is what the game card looks like so far. So again, if I made all the correct picks, okay, and the key word here is if. If I made all the correct picks and none of these blocked out numbers come up, then the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be within these numbers still left on the game card. Okay, so I started off with 69 white ball numbers, and now I'm down to 3, and 3 is 6, and 3 more is 9. Okay, so again, if I made all the correct picks, then my chances of picking the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers are much better than picking from 69 numbers. Okay, so to help me really pinpoint these numbers that I believe are going to come up, I'm going to turn to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 5, the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the 50-50 picks. So again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so there has to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers to the high side or numbers to the low side. Okay, so I like to keep track of that and try to correctly guess what the majority will be for the upcoming drawing. Okay, so how this works is so far I kept track of 270 drawings. Okay, and that goes back to October 7th, 2015. That's when the Powerball lottery went from 59 numbers to 69 numbers, okay? And out of this 270 drawings, 136 drawings have been the majority of odd numbers. 134 drawings have been the majority of even numbers, okay? So I just think that that's kind of amazing that it's so close together like that, okay? So here I like to break things down into 5 again, okay? So I can see a majority. Okay, so out of this last 5 drawings, the majority was even numbers, 4 drawings to 1, okay? And as I head down through, you can see the one before that was odds, 3 drawings to 2, okay? So here I can go back into time here, go back into the history and see what things have been, okay? So another way that I like to use this is that I call this number 1, number 2, all the way up to number 5 here. So the first slot was even numbers here in this one, in this one, okay? In this one, so that's kind of 3 in a row here, okay? And then it was an odd. So for me, I just think that the majority of the upcoming drawing is probably going to be odd numbers, okay? So when I'm picking what I think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, I want to make sure that at least 3 of them are odd numbers, okay? So I'm going to move over to the next one, and this is high and low. So the numbers in the blue are low, and the numbers in the red are high, okay? So out of this, 132 drawings have been the majority to the high side, and 138 have been the majority to the low side, okay? So for me, I just think that the 5 white winning Powerball numbers will probably be to the majority of the high side for this drawing, okay? So I'm going to move on. And the next is left and right. So you can see that this is dead even, okay? 135 drawings have been the majority to the left side, and 135 have been the majority to the right side. And again, I just think that that's amazing out of 270 drawings here, okay? I'm not sure what's going to happen here, so I'm not even going to guess at this one, okay? So I have 4 of these to guess at, so I don't need to guess at every single one of them. Okay, so here, this red and blue area, you can see that the red has the majority of 154 drawings, and the blue has 116 drawings, okay? So one last thing that I have here is I'm not even going to guess at that one either, okay? This is what I have for the red number, the Powerball number. So as I go back here, again, this 17 is the red number. So there's 26 red numbers total. There's 69 white ball numbers and 26 red numbers, okay? So in this column here, if you see a blue number, then that means it's low, 1 to 13. If you see a red number, then that means it's high, 14 to 26. Okay, so in this column here, if you see a red number, then that means it's odds. And if you see a blue number, then that means it's evens. Okay, so here I just get to look at the colors now. Okay, so I'm kind of big in the colors here. So when I see a streak of red here, I know that eventually it's going to turn blue. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen. Okay, so for this drawing here, I think that the Powerball number, I think on this side, I think it's going to be blue, which means I think it's going to be low, 1 to 13. And over here, I think that this is going to be red. Okay, so I think the Powerball number will be a low odd number. Okay, so as I go back to the game card here, I'm going to scroll down. Okay, so again, for the 50-50 picks here, again, I think the majority of the numbers will be even numbers. Or maybe I said odd, but here I think they're going to be even. Okay, and also I think the majority will be to the high side here. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy here. Okay, and that's strategy number 6, picking the numbers I hope will hit from group 2. Okay, so again, I have 15 of these option cards, and they all have the same colors as far as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other, from each different option card. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is that I have 15 of these red areas, 15 of the blue, and so on. Okay, so I like to keep track of all that stuff, and I call that the Group 2 overview. Okay, so I'm going to go to the Group 2 overview right now. Okay, so I keep it over here in the Group 1 settings because of the way that things work out here. Okay, so again, this is the Group 2 overview right here. Okay, so again, this is for all the red areas. Okay, so on the left side represents the hits, and on the right side represents those zeros or misses. Okay, so here you can see in the last drawing, there was 7 hits among those 15 option cards and 8 misses among those 15 option cards. Okay, so the magic number here is 8. Okay, it's right in the middle of 15. Okay, so if there's 8 or more misses, I color the background blue for cold. If there's 8 or more hits, I color the background red for hot. Okay, so again, I just get to look at the colors here and try to predict when it's going to be either red or blue or hot or cold or however you want to look at this. Okay, so for this drawing here, I'm going to guess that there's going to be lots of hits in the brown area. So I think that this is going to be red up here, okay? And I think there's going to be lots of hits over here in the yellow area as well. So I think that this is going to be red as well. Okay, so as I go back to the game card here, I'm going to scroll to the right. Okay, so you can see that I wrote down lots of hits among the, it's supposed to read brown and yellow, okay? So how this works is this is option card number 1 here, okay? So as I go back to option card number 1, I'm looking at the brown area from the 6 down to the 62, okay? So as I go back to the game card here, whatever's left is the 22 and the 38, okay? So here's the 22 and the 38 that I wrote down, okay? And as I go back here for the yellow area, it's the 66 to the 64, okay? And you can see that there's nothing here, so I put a 0 right here, okay? So I'll do one more here, okay? Option card number 2. Okay, so you can see that the brown areas from the 41 to the 48. Okay, so the ones that are left are the 42, 43, and 47. So you can see I wrote those up here, 42, 43, and 47. And for the yellow area, it's the 57 to the 64. And what's left is the 60 and the 63. So you can see how I wrote those here, okay? So for all 15 option cards, these are the numbers that came up. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. Strategy number 7, picking my numbers. Okay, so again, I'm going to scroll over to the right. Okay, so this must be at 100%, so I'm going to reduce this down to 90 so it fits better. Okay, so the numbers that I'm going to go with for this drawing are the 21, 31, 47, 60, and 63. Okay, so with that combination of numbers, that's going to give me 12 hits and 3 misses in the brown area, and 9 hits, 6 misses in that yellow area. Okay, so again, as I go back to the Group 2 overview, okay, here I think that this is going to be a 9 and a 6, okay? And since it's more than 8, as far as the hits are concerned, then I'm going to color this red for hot. Okay, so I just want to give you a visual. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the game card. And again, the 5 white winning numbers that I think are going to come up are the 21, 31, 47, 60, and 63. Okay, so I kind of screwed up on the 50-50 picks. I did think it was going to be odds and not even, so you can see that the majority is odd numbers here. Okay, but I did think it was going to be to the high side and not the low, so you can see that the 47, 60, and 63 are all to this high side here. Okay, so again, that's how I use my game, and again, we're all going to look at this a little bit differently. Okay, so as I wrap this thing up, okay, if you're interested in using my game, then please go to my website at www.patreon.com/Decoding the Powerball. Okay, so if you'd like to send me any feedback, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Again, that's just decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Okay, folks, I have one more thing for this, okay? And I like to dedicate a video to my mom, okay, who passed away a year ago on May 6th, okay? My mom taught me 3 important life lessons that I wanted to share on her behalf. And one is she told me to dream big, okay? 2, she told me, do what you love for a living and you'll never work a day in your life, okay? And 3, she told me that persistence and determination are all powerful in getting the things that you want in life. Okay, so the reason why I include my mom in my videos is because she loved going to the casinos, okay? And when she got sick with cancer, she got too weak to go. So I designed this game to bring the casino experience to her, okay? We had a lot of fun picking our numbers together, and she was the one who encouraged me to share this with people, okay? So if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be making these videos in the first place. Okay, so my mom's name was Catherine, but she loved to be called Cat, okay? So I'd like to honor my mom by dedicating this song called Sister Sweetly by Big Head Todd and the Monsters to the coolest cat ever, okay? Mom, you're more than just my mom. You're my hero. I will miss you every single day of the rest of my life. I hope you enjoy.
Again, she gon' bring it down. Love gone up and jump again, tying it all around. I'm going to the liquor store to get some peace of mind. Something I ain't done before, can't seem to find. Hold me, please, sister sweetly. Give to me never leave. Never, never, never leave. Sister, I'm suffering, single desire. Hell is the shadow cast from my soul on fire. Me, please, sister, sweetly. Give to me a place in paradise. Hold me, please, sister, sweetly. Never, never, never leave. Never, never, never.